Well, it looks like it's about that time. So, Jenny and Kay, thank you so much for presenting today. And thank you, Blackfoot Communications, for sponsoring this event. When you guys are ready, we'd love to hear.
Okay. Kate, can we do introductions before we start screen sharing, just so they can see us while we're introducing ourselves?
Sure.
And I'll
Yeah,
share.
that's fine.
Okay. You want to?
Yeah. So, so my name is Kay Grissom Kiely, and I'm the curator of education at the Missoula Art Museum. And I'm here with Jenny Bevill, and Jenny is our educator and educator extraordinaire, I should say, our educator and outreach specialist. So I think, we've met a lot of you. I'm recognizing names. You've been to MAM, which is great, or participated in one of our virtual programs. So I just wanted to first and foremost welcome everybody, and I'll let Jenny talk a little bit about herself, and I'll say a few things about myself, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, we're so happy to be with you all this morning. We are really excited about what we've created and excited to share it with teachers. I'm actually from New York. I've been in Montana. This is my 6th year in Montana and my 2nd year at the Missoula Art Museum. And I just have loved bringing my teaching experience from New York City into Montana, and it's just so different. I've learned so much since I've been here, and really excited about the ability to connect a little bit more personally with teachers here. So we're going to be sharing our emails, and if you have any questions or if you want to reach out in any way about your particular scenario, especially as we move into who knows what the fall is going to look like, we just really want to be here for you all as a free go-to resource for teaching art or for teaching arts integration. So we'll get more into that, but just excited to be with everybody this morning.
Great. And likewise, I'm excited to be with everybody. I wish I could see everybody, but I do get to see my colleague Jenny, which is nice. Yeah, so Jenny and I have been working together in this education position at the Missoula Art Museum for, I guess it's been 2.5 years. And we had the great experience of launching some virtual programs just prior to COVID. We took our 5th grade art experience virtual. And then COVID hit, and we have just been working our tails off to create online virtual programs that are related to several different upcoming exhibitions that we have, and we'll be sharing that with you today, of course. But my background is in art history and visual arts making, and I lived in Chicago for almost 10 years, and then I moved to Missoula, and I've been here for about 19 years. And I've worked at the Art Museum in different capacities, the Missoula Art Museum, for the Montana Arts Council, and my background's in art history. I've taught a lot of art history over the years and some art making, but I dabble in art making myself, and I think Jenny and I make a good team. We also have a third person on our team that's part-time, and her name is Sierra. And so we have 3 people on our education team, but just Jenny and I are here with you today.
Yeah, and as we get started, I love seeing where everyone's from. If you also, one thing we're really trying to do is meet the needs that you all have for the upcoming school year. So if you also want to pop into the chat, sort of what you see as your biggest challenge entering this year, we would love to, get a feel for what it's feeling like to you. And then we'll just dive in and start sharing some things about the Art Museum. Our presentation is going to have 3 parts today. We're going to talk to you about the Art Museum and introduce you to some of our resources. We're also going to go onto the Inspired Classroom site and walk you through logging into Love Letters, which is one of the courses that we want to share today. And then we're also going to have a little interactive piece at the end where you will get to do an art project, a creative project, and email it into the artwork. So stay tuned for more on that. I'm going to go ahead and start sharing my screen.
Okay.
Who knows what will happen then? We'll have to see.
Right.
And hi, Kathleen. I see you're there if we need help or support. And here we go. Can everyone see that? Museum is Megaphone. So that's a little picture of the front of MAM. Oh, we're echoing again. Sorry, Kate, can you all see that? The PowerPoint?
Yes, I can see it.
Great.
Okay.
I'm going to let Kay take over for the beginning part of this presentation.
Great. So the Missoula Art Museum, we are located in downtown Missoula on the corner of Patty and Pine. And we, for those of you who don't know, you might have seen in the past screen that we are located in an old Carnegie building. It was a Carnegie library initially. And in 2006, we did a renovation. So we combined the old with the new. So we have brick representing the old, and we also have kind of a modern wing that you can see slightly. And we were maxed out of our space. And so that was the real impetus for the remodel. And now we can show so many more contemporary artists to the public. So we're really excited about that. And we also, with this remodel, we got a classroom space, and we're able to offer a variety of classes, workshops, and other programs to teach art making, in addition to seeing the art in the galleries. And a lot of our programs are free. We try, about 85% of our programs in education are free of charge. And of course, our museum is Megaphone, which we're going to get into detail about today, is one of those free programs. So we're excited to share with folks all over the state of Montana and maybe even further. So what are museums for, and how can they help now? What we did is we led a workshop at MAM fairly recently, and we were able to ask folks to think about, what are museums for? And I encourage you to, I'm going to read off some of these words to you from our workshop, but please chime into the chat if you think about things that you want to share. What are museums for, and how can they help us now? They're for conversation, for self-discovery, for joy, therapy, engagement, and understanding. Museums help build community, inclusion, and also diverse perspectives, opportunities, learning experiences, culture and history, exposure, opening your mind. Someone just wrote into the chat. Great. So museums, and specifically a contemporary art museum, we serve lots of different purposes, but this is kind of to get you thinking about what we are offering at the museum and what museums can do for us and the public. Okay. I wanted to talk a little bit about the radical welcome. And the radical welcome, with the radical welcome, MAM embraces this radical welcome to remove barriers of entry and engagement. And we actively invite and welcome diverse audiences to deeply engage with contemporary art, people of all backgrounds, abilities, interests, to foster creativity, and to also catalyze civic engagement. So Jenny and I are going to talk today about kind of 3 different prongs of how we do this, how we embrace the radical welcome. And we do this through acknowledgement, access, and action. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about acknowledgement and access. And then Jenny's going to talk to you about action, and she'll get into the Museum as Megaphone curriculum and some art making projects. So Museum as Megaphone, that's one of the ways that we do offer the radical welcome. We're able to invite people to participate in our online distance learning programs all over the state, not just in Missoula. And it's really important in our state, as you all know, because we have such a rural big state represented, and 7, now 8 American Indian reservations, which is fantastic. So we are really trying to reach all, as many communities as we possibly can. So starting with acknowledgement, we are showing our utmost respect and respect for other cultures within our state. And MAM created an acknowledgement statement in conjunction with tribal leaders to be read before all programs. And in just a second, I'm going to read it in advance of this presentation. But we offer free education programs, free admission, as well as inviting, welcoming, and acknowledging cultural diversity and inclusion. And this all allows us to effectively deliver our mission. So I'm going to read the acknowledgement statement. MAM is situated on the traditional ancestral territories of the Salish, or Flathead, and Upper Kalispel or Pend Oreille peoples. MAM is committed to respecting the indigenous stewards of the land it occupies. Their rich cultures are fundamental to artistic life in Montana and to the work of MAM. Okay, Jenny, you want to move yeah, there we go. So at MAM, we exhibiting artists are diverse at MAM, and we have here on the screen, you'll see an image by Rick Bartow. We have an image by Lillian Pitt. So Rick Bartow is an American Indian artist, Mad River Band Wiyot. And then the middle image is of female American Indian artist, Lillian Pitt, Warm Springs, Wasco, Yakima. And the third image here is by Ken Little. And you notice the Ken's piece, if you can tell, that is a sculpture piece of found objects and mixed media. So we do offer, this is just to give you a little sampling of the diversity that we do offer in our exhibitions and our exhibition schedule. Also at MAM, we preserve a large and active collection of contemporary American Indian art. Over 10% of MAM's permanent collection is comprised of contemporary American Indian art. And it's our most active collection, which is super exciting. And what I mean by active is that we have constantly other museums are asking for particular pieces from our contemporary American Indian art collection to be used for an exhibition in their museum across the country. Also, it's active because of the fifth grade art experience and our Megaphone, Museum as Megaphone programs, because we're using images from the collection to work from. So we're getting these images of contemporary American art out to the public. Also, we have a quick partnership. I just quickly want to refer back to the other slide, but we have a partnership. That's okay. We have, about our collection, we have a partnership with county offices in Missoula County, where images are actually original artworks from our contemporary American Indian art collection go into offices. They're selected by employees of the county, and they can have these artwork in their office spaces, which we find is really exciting. And the employees are just loving it because they get to work next to a piece of contemporary American Indian art. So those are all ways that our contemporary American Indian art collection is active. Exhibiting and collecting contemporary art from our region and beyond. Here are just 3 images that you see, one by Jean Quick-to-See Smith, Salish Kootenai, Métis Cree, and Shoshone-Bannock. The middle piece is by Neil Parsons, Southern Pekuni. And the final piece up here is by Corky Claremont, and we're going to be looking at another piece of his a little bit later. And he is Salish Kootenai. We also have exhibitions at MAM that are conversation starting exhibitions. Well, all of them are, but these are just examples of maybe a little bit more socially and politically charged exhibitions that we really try to challenge the audience and provide solid education around maybe some harder subjects. The first image you see here is an image by Philip Guston in 1969. And we held a show last year called In Praise of Folly. And this piece was on loan from a museum called Art Bridges. And we were able to work with 5 different local artists, Montana artists, I should say, to create pieces in response to this piece by Philip Guston. The next image that you see on your screen is by Richard Misrock, and that's from a exhibition called Border Cantos. And this particular exhibition dealt a lot with immigration and migration, and a lot of what we're seeing now between, borders created on the Mexico-United States division. That's now, we have a wall. So a lot of this work deals with that, but also to bring it back to Montana, we have these imposed reservations the United States imposed upon American Indian communities, and of course, borders. So it brought up lots of different discussions with different community groups and students, and it was just a pretty powerful conversation starting exhibition. Both of these were. Okay. All right. And so when we did our remodel in 2006, we dedicated a contemporary American Indian art gallery, and that is the Linda Frost Art Gallery. And here you'll see 3 different images that are projected from the gallery itself. And this gallery is really exciting because it's dedicated to always showing contemporary American Indian artwork. And we consulted with a lot of tribal leaders to figure out the best way to present this exhibition space ongoing. And not only do we always show contemporary American Indian artwork in this particular gallery, we're constantly showing outside of this gallery in group shows and solo shows in the other gallery spaces at MAM.
Sorry.
Also, we have, you can flip it.
That was an accident.
Also, we have lots of trainings for our staff, board, and teaching artists, and our docents. And docents are our tour guides, and they're all volunteer-based. And we love docents, and teachers make great docents. So if anybody's ever interested, please let us know. But we have created for this consortium of people, we've created language guidelines that are culturally sensitive and responsive and appropriate. We also have created an interpretive strategy that's inquiry-based, so that we really encourage self-discovery from the individual, as opposed to the museum being I'm losing it. I don't have the word. Instead of help me out.
Maybe the authority. We're the guiding side, not the sage on the stage.
Right. Instead of the museum being the authority, we really encourage. We use open-ended questions to really encourage each individual to experience self-discovery and bring their experiences to the piece of artwork they may be looking at. So. Also, all of our staff has been, prior to COVID and this social revolution that we're in right now, we've been doing a lot of training and exploration in our work. And we took a 6-week class through Empower Montana called True Colors, and it was a really profound training. And now we are doing even more work as a staff and as individuals, and how we present shows and how we educate. So we are really trying to stay up on the the front lines of what that looks like. So we're current. And we constantly reach out for guidance and feedback. And we're doing test drives constantly and evaluations. So we like the feedback, and we're open to the feedback, and we know we make mistakes, and we're open to that. So, all right, and on to access. We really work hard to remove barriers to entry and engagement, and you'll see here in these two slides. On one side, we have a group from the University of Montana, the Aphasia Institute, and we work with them throughout the course of the year to provide an art experience that is art looking and some making. We also do, that's free of charge. All these programs that I'm talking about are free to the public. We also do a monthly, throughout the academic year, a monthly program called Art in the Moment. And those are for individuals who are experiencing dementia. And it's a 2-hour program once a month where individuals and sometimes their caretakers come to MAM for a very slow looking tour and then an related art making experience in our classroom. All right.
I was just going to jump in, Kay, because I know we have some special ed teachers on the call, and the slow looking is such a great, we'll be talking about it more in the curriculum because it's built into everything we do, but slow looking with aphasia, folks who have experienced traumatic brain injury, they're recovering their language. And so looking at art and then speaking about what they see really helps those neural pathways regenerate for these folks, and also for the folks with dementia, but also for our special ed students who might have trouble, excuse me, expressing themselves, whether it's speech difficulties or processing difficulties. Looking at an artwork and discussing it is just really such a great way to help them verbalize. So I just wanted to plant that seed for anybody who might be looking for ways to engage special needs children.
Absolutely. And I guess I just wanted to say too, just back to the access on that last slide, that's okay. You see some of the kids in this slide making some of the motions that they're seeing in the artwork. And we do that with a lot of different audiences. And we really love to, in some of our strategies, we love to get the bodies engaged of the participants and getting them to use their body and mind and expression together, even when they're in the gallery looking at art, you can see. So we try to make it really fun, and we also try to make it so that it's an experience that kids and adults remember. So, all right, and so facilitating entry to the museum, to MAM. I did speak a little bit about how we are free, and that is our mission to always remain free. And we write lots of grants and seek out donations and other monies to enable free admission. And with free admission, we're providing access so that money is not a barrier. So we really pride ourselves on that and really hope to always maintain free admission. We're always open for Indigenous Peoples Day. And this year we're hoping to do a partnership with All Nations Health Center, and probably we might be doing something virtually. We haven't quite decided yet, or it'll be in person in limited size. But we are open. I don't think I mentioned that yet, but we are open to the public right now, and we're taking serious precautions mandated by the health department in the state during COVID, and masks are required, and we're offering some camps too, but come visit us. We also do targeted invitations, and what I mean by that is we reach out to groups and students statewide, obviously through our Megaphone program, But we also reach out to groups with different free programs that we have to bring students and individuals to MAM on buses, and we help provide bus transportation costs depending on if we're able to get grants for specific programs. But we're constantly trying to get students and adults from rural areas and tribal lands to come to the museum. Yeah. All right, and then facilitating engagement with art and artists. I talked a little bit about inquiry-based tours, and we do gallery cards so that people can take a self-guided tour or learn more about the artist in more of a tour format in each gallery. And we like to share scholarship with other museums and utilize scholarship from other museums as well. And first and foremost, we're trying to amplify the artist's voice. And that is a main goal of ours, to really, whether American Indian, African American, whatever ethnic diversity that we're offering through our exhibitions, we are amplifying the artist's voice, and the artist's voice comes first. So, yeah. And I wanted to just take a quick break here and say thank you to Blackfoot Communications. They are the sponsors of this conference that you all are participating in right now. And without them, we would have limited access because people would have to pay for their participation in this conference. So I just want to say thanks to Blackfoot. We're really grateful that they were able to come in and sponsor this conference. So what is contemporary art and why is it relevant now? And I'd encourage you all to type into the chat if anybody has any ideas of how would they define contemporary art, as MAM is a contemporary art museum. And I will just say that the way that we look at contemporary art is it's art made by artists today, and it's about art of our time. So it's all about art being created by way of what's relevant today, socially, politically. Yeah, so I see some chats coming in. Art explaining the events of today. Great. Personal, political, and social art. Wonderful. And just going back to our interpretive strategy, we use questions to spark curiosity and preference the personal engagement. And that's something that I did talk about a little bit earlier. This is really important to the museum to really get individuals to have a profound experience where they're thinking on their own when connecting with the artwork. All right, and MAM is a convener, and we have some other free programs that I'll mention here. You'll see on one slide, you'll see a group of individuals participating in a free program that we have called Indian Country Conversations. And this is in the Frost Gallery, the American Indian Art Gallery, and where 4 to 5 times a year, we work to bring in 3 different individuals, typically 2 Native and 1 non-Native, to provide diverse perspectives on a particular theme that's represented in one of the exhibitions. So you'll see people convening in a circle and discussing the themes, and typically they're contemporary themes, themes that we are and the artist is addressing today. And on the right-hand side, we see, I don't know if it's the right to you all, Migration Stories. And this is an event that we did in collaboration with the show that I spoke of earlier called Border Cantos. And we invited several individuals and then opened it up to the entire group to share their migration stories. And so we had a really, it was very inclusive, and we had a really diverse group of individuals that were so eloquently and bravely sharing their stories of how they immigrated to the United States. So that was a really wonderful event, both of these. All right. Action. And now I'm going to turn it over to Jenny, and she's going to talk about action and really get into the ins and outs of the Museum as Megaphone curriculum.
Great, thanks, Kay. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, if anybody needs to take a break for a moment and just stretch as we move into action. The main focus of action that I'm going to talk about today is Museum as Megaphone, which is our distance learning platform. And what you can see here are a couple of images from our live days. So Inspired Classroom is our partner in this initiative. And at the top of the screen, you can see the students from St. Ignatius School, excuse me, who were calling in via video, via Zoom from their classroom on the Flathead Reservation. And I'm here in the gallery. And so we were trying to, as closely as possible, replicate an actual visit to the museum. So I can talk with them in real time, they can ask questions, and we can look at art together. So for teachers, I'm going to really pitch this in teacher language for the rest of the presentation, and just kind of try to let you know what Museum as Megaphone can do for you and your students. So this platform, we're really here to amplify the voices of the artists and provide an arts integrated curriculum for you. And when I say curriculum, it's not like huge. It's more like modules of art projects that are related to works on view. So I don't want you to think it's like something you have to do for the whole year or buy into, as a big part of your curriculum, although it could be. We are offering a way to meet the Indian education for all essential understandings. And this is a big one because we've run several workshops where we are hoping to help teachers become more comfortable teaching to the essential understandings. And we understand that it is a little bit challenging if you don't feel like you're an expert in Indian education, which many of us do not feel that we are, then how to meet that mandate to share. And contemporary American Indian art is a great way to meet that mandate. It also meets standards in visual arts, social studies, and language arts. And when we get into the IC platform of the actual modules, you'll see the links to those specific standards. As Kay said before, we're trying to also always be connecting with current events that are happening in our world. So we're bringing that art connection full circle. The students see the artwork, they connect, with their own lives, their own personal feelings and preferences, and then it also connects to their world lived experiences. So this year, we're probably not going to be having field trips, so we're hoping that these live days can be a replacement for an actual trip to the museum until we can reopen fully and everyone can actually visit us. But I will just say, even when we are fully open, there are schools that are far away, and it would be a real hardship to actually travel to Missoula. So even before COVID, we were envisioning Museum as Megaphone as providing access to folks who geographically are too far away to travel. So for those of you who are calling in from more remote places, this is for you. So I put a slide here just so you could sort of see, what does Museum as Megaphone mean? For students, we're connecting them with visual art and artists, both Indigenous and non-Indigenous. And we're hoping to widen their vision of the world and what is possible. And not only amplify the artist's voice, but also amplify the student voice, because there is a sharing portion to the curriculum where students can use hashtags on social media to share their artwork with each other and with us at MAM. For teachers, I mean, this was all written pre-COVID, but it's so relevant now. We would love to be providing enrichment and professional development for you in this time when you might not be an art teacher and you might be hoping to still provide some art connections and exploration for your students. As I said, accessibility, meeting the standards. And really, when we start talking about art, as we will do in a little bit, you'll see the opportunity to practice your critical thinking skills. When we look and we answer the open-ended questions, we're really encouraging students to name what they see, to draw inferences, and to give evidence for those inferences. So thinking skills that can overlap into any area of the curriculum and of life. For us at the museum, we're expanding our outreach and providing access. And really the democratic layer to this is very important to us. We want art and artists' voices to be accessible to everybody. So in 2019, when we created the first iteration of Museum as Megaphone, we partnered with Inspired Classroom, which I'm sure you're all super familiar with now through the conference. And so our platform, Museum as Megaphone, lives on Inspired Classroom's platform, if that makes sense. So if you are on Inspired Classroom for other challenges, you'll see MAM's challenges there as well. So it's very easy once you're in to access all the different challenges, and we'll go through that together. We are going to continue to grow the platform, especially during COVID. Every time we have a new exhibition, we want to create a challenge or a course that enables folks to access it for free and assign it or do it with their students. So we'll keep doing that. And each course will have modules, which will include contemporary art, looking, talking, learning, hands-on art making. And this is crucial because really another way many of our students connect with art is to make their own art. But we're going to make the art projects super accessible, super simple. You don't need an art degree to teach the project. And you can do the project with any simple materials that you might have on hand at home. So we're not making projects right now that require, specific art supplies or things that you would need to order or buy. It'll all be accessible with things as simple as sidewalk chalk or Legos and a towel. And we'll get into that a little bit more. So right now we have 5th grade art experience available. We have an Earthborn exhibition class, which will soon be available. Love Letters to the Collection, which is what we're going to be getting into today. And coming in September, Witness to Wartime, which will be more targeted to middle and high school students. All of the courses can be utilized with students as young as 4th grade, except Witness to Wartime. And the other ones, I pitched all of the teaching to be something that you could sort of make harder or make easier according to your grade level. And we'll get into that in a moment. As Kay mentioned, the inquiry method, we utilize open-ended questions to activate the viewer's imagination. And we always start with the same 2 questions. What do you notice and what do you wonder? And many of you may be familiar with this method of teaching because what it does is it makes the artwork accessible to everybody, because everyone can name what they notice and everyone can name what they wonder. And so once we get into sharing those 2 prompts, then I start noticing things that I didn't notice before because you noticed them, and we're all wondering together. And we help students stay in that place of wonder and curiosity, which is getting a little bit impeded these days because we can Google everything. So we want to kind of take it back to, it's okay to not know the answer, and it's okay if there is not just one answer. So we're bringing it back to multiple right answers and the place that artists create from, which is, going into our own physical body and our own emotional body, and what are we engaging with, what are we discovering, what's important to us in this artwork. So yeah, engaging with art is a life skill. We really want to empower people to engage with any art anywhere with confidence and curiosity. That's our main goal with these courses. So I'm going to introduce you now to Love Letters to the Collection, and I'm going to show you the link on Inspire Classroom and walk you through how to get into the course and show you what it looks like, and how to do it. So I'm going to go out of this screen. So I'm going to stop sharing this for a moment. And oh, now I can see you all again. And I'm going to take us into the platform, and I'm going to paste the link into the chat. So if you want to follow along, if you want to go ahead and sign up and get into the modules on your own, here's the link. And some of you may already be Inspired Classroom folks. And so if you go to that link and create a profile, and I'm going to start sharing again. Actually, I'll pause for a minute. Any questions so far on what we're showing you and where we're at? I can't see the chat when I'm sharing the screen. So Kay, if you see questions and you want to jump in, just go for it.
Jenny, they could just unmute too if they have a question.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, feel free to do that. Just interrupt me. I mean, nicely, you know. All right, so can everyone see the Inspire Classroom tab? Great. All right, so once you sign in and you have created a teacher page, it'll look like this. There'll be a purple bar at the top. So this is my dashboard, and I've already created 2 classes here, you can see. So open challenges are here, and if you scroll down in the open challenges, you can find love letters to the collection, and you'll see there's like a little code here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna copy that code and go up to create a class. And here I'm going to put my class name, so it can be whatever whatever you want to call your class. I'm not going to create another one just because I already have 3. You can tell the number of students, the number of teams, and here's where you'll type in the code that I just copied from below, and then submit. So you can have any number of classes and teams in a particular challenge. And once they're created, you'll see them here. So I have 2 created. So if I click on this one, I'll see this is the class I created for Love Letters to the Collection, and then View Challenge. And then here's your course page. So your students can also log in independently. You could log in and share your screen with them if you were doing this in real time together, or you could share it assign it to them, and they can do the modules on their own. And so you'll see here, there's a few tabs that are really for the teachers. The background is a lot of what Kay and I just shared with you about the radical welcome, the acknowledgement statement, and a link to our website. So that is just more about the Missoula Art Museum. The scenario is introducing you to what this course is about. So here we're giving you information about our contemporary American Indian art collection, John Quick-to-See Smith, and how the collection was begun, and really sort of pitching it to why is it important that we have this collection. Learning goals are here for the whole course, so feel free to cut and paste these learning goals if you want to incorporate this into your curriculum in any way. And then you have a student library and a teacher library. The student library is things that the students might access on their own. The teacher library is really just for you. We have an FAQ with questions that you might have as you start to move through the modules. And the content standards are all here. So you've got your visual arts, Indian education, essential and understandings 1, 2, 3, and 6 are the ones that we're targeting with this course. Social studies standards, and obviously we can't paste the standards in here specifically for every grade level, so we've put some in here so that can maybe spark you if you're teaching 8th grade and you need something, you know how to access your own grade level standards and sync up with these, and English language arts. So the Indian education are for everyone. The visual arts are for everyone. And if anyone's not an art teacher, I just want to highlight this. We only got National Visual Arts Standards in 2016, and they're really good. There are 4 categories, and they're all verbs. So for anyone who's creating learning goals, you know this little trick, but having a verb as your goal means that everyone can meet the goal. Everyone can create to their own level. Everyone can present, respond, and connect to their own level. So I just really love that these are not benchmarks in terms of like product that have to be created, but they're activities that we will all be able to do. I love the inclusivity of those standards. So the teacher libraries here, you could use this for your administration if you're justifying what you're doing, if you're being asked to give proof of standards, here you go. And then we move into the challenge. So the actual challenge, the actual curriculum is these steps here. So the first 4 are kind of orientating students to the thought processes that we're going to be utilizing. And then 5 and on, each of these is an artwork. So each module can be done in a class session of 30 to 40 minutes, and you could do the first one together and then assign the students to pick another one to do on their own. And this is going to keep growing because the Love Letters exhibition is going to be up for a year. And even after it comes down in physical form, the challenge will live on virtually, so you can continue to use it. So I'll just show you what these look like. Each one has little videos. So actually, it'll tell you at the top what's going to be happening and how long it's going to take, and then move on. So you could move through the first 4 modules with the students together, and then they could work independently depending on your grade level after that. So it's, you know, what are we doing? Welcome to Love Letters. How can you participate? There are many ways to write a love letter, some examples, and step 4 is going to be gone. Sorry, that's a dupe. And then step 5, we're moving into the curriculum. So here are the standards, and we put the actions in red. So look, you're going to look at this artwork. Discuss. Here are questions to guide your discussion. Read. Here's some more about Jean Quick-to-See Smith. Write. Write your own love letter. And each artwork has its own email address. Actually, yeah, its own email address. So students can write their letter, they can email it to you and to ma'am. And so that could be how you know that they've done the project. And so as you'll see, if you scan through these modules, each artist is different. This is 100% American Indian contemporary artists from all different tribes, some in Montana, some in Washington, some in Oregon. And it should be very easy for the students to access what to do. And as I said, it could be independent or it could be together as a class. If you're tuning in tomorrow, we're going to be doing an art project based around this module, Family Watch by Donna Luz. And we're going to be actually creating an art piece, simple materials from home based on this module. So I'm going to jump out of the Inspired Classroom curriculum right now and go back to the PowerPoint so that we can do a little bit of a love letter together. Any questions right now about the Inspired Classroom site? Okay, so we're gonna go back and I'm gonna show you all an artwork.
Jenny,
Yes.
while you're trading, I might say that just a reminder that the Museum as Megaphone and Love Letters is free. So all this stuff is free to you. And the other thing is there will be some live days, I believe, associated with this.
Yes.
So you will have the opportunity to bring your classes to the museum virtually.
Great, thanks Kathleen. That is exactly right. So we're going to ask you to do a little interactive part right now. We're going to, oh, someone's saying, how do we get the Inspired Classroom login? You create your own login. So when you go to the link I just shared with you, you create your own login. Once you're in, you'll see open courses or open challenges, and you can just get the code from right there. It has the code for you to join our challenge. Okay, so I'm going to show you a piece of artwork now, and what I would love for you to do, we're going to give you some time to look, independent, like together as a group, we'll look, and then we're going to do, should we do breakout rooms, Kathleen, since we're not a huge group, or? You're muted.
First rule, unmute yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it would be great to do some breakout rooms and let people talk to each other.
Yeah, okay, so I'm gonna put up a piece of art. We'll all look together, and I'm gonna paste the link to this piece of art in the chat too. So when we go into the breakout rooms, you'll lose my screen of seeing the artwork, but you can type it into another window on your browser and be looking at the artwork as well. So I just sent it to you. It's an OPI created curriculum for artist Corky Claremont, and I'm gonna share it with you right now so you can see what I'm looking at. So here's Corky, and he's from the Salish and Kootenai Confederated Tribes on the Flathead Reservation. He created this artwork, and I'm gonna try to make it full screen so you can see it. And this is all, you'll be able to see this in the link I just shared with you. So what I would love for you to do now, we're just gonna kind of replicate the experience of what you might do with your students. And we're gonna take our first two questions, what do you notice and what do you wonder? And if you would like to just look and type some of your answers into the chat, or you could make some notes on a paper of just everything that you notice. So we're really going to the basics, almost just stating the obvious. Or, you know, I guess let's do it this way. So just make some notes about what you're noticing from the colors, the shapes. I'm not sure if I can zoom in. Yeah, I can. When I zoom in, you might be noticing some more detail on these feathers here. You might be noticing what it's made out of. And after you notice some things, you might also be noticing some questions coming up. And you could type those questions in. That would qualify as what do you wonder? And I can't see the chat when I'm screen sharing. So if there's anything, Kay or Kathleen, that we want to address.
Yeah, so I'll just kind of read what some people are saying. Vehicles, tires, feathers, landscape, modern materials with traditional ideas and cultural significance. I noticed the print inside the wreath, used the tire tread. Wondering what the feathers are made of. And are the small flowers a peak of flowers? Notice the technology and industrialization impact traditions. I wonder about the significance of the colored dots inside the tire treads. Let's see. Yeah.
So I think
looks like a.
Sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say, one other person said it looks like a wreath made of tires. Yeah.
Yeah, so we can go into the breakout rooms now, and if you are able to go to that link, you can keep this picture of Corky's split war shield up on your screen as we're in the breakout rooms. And so Kathleen, if you want to send us there now, that'd be great.
Sure. So if you haven't played in a breakout room yet, what's going to happen is I'm going to open the rooms. It will ask you if you want to join. I've set up, let's see, 5 breakout rooms. So you'll have 2 or 3 or 4 people in each one.
Actually, Kathleen, since we're so small, such a small group, could you just split it into 2 and have one for me and one for Kay?
Oh, that'd be a great idea. Let me recreate them then. I love the magic of technology. I can do this quickly, right?
Yeah, and everyone, if you want to be ready to just unmute yourself, we can just actually have a real conversation in our breakout room for maybe just about 10 minutes-ish or maybe 7 minutes-ish. And then we can come back together to, and Kay, if you want to do some love letter writing, that's cool in the breakout room too.
Yeah, and I've got Kay in one and Jenny in one, so we're good.
Okay, great. Thanks, Kathleen.
And then you'll please click join, and then when it's over, you want me to close in about 7 minutes, Jenny?
Yeah, that sounds great.
Okay. Then you'll get a warning.
Or maybe give us 10. We might do a little bit of writing too.
Okay. 10 minutes. See you back.
Okay. Wow, that went by really fast, didn't it? That was 10 minutes. And I'll just say from a teaching point of view, Zoom teaching is much more exhausting for students and for teachers. In a live session in the museum, we would spend no more than 15 minutes having that type of conversation about one artwork. So just keep that in your mind. If you're leading something like this with students, even if they seem like they could keep talking longer than 15 minutes, because some people could, many students will get fatigued at that point. So it's better to stop when people are still having a little bit of energy and capacity and have them maybe go to writing. So I'm gonna take you guys, we have about 10 minutes left. I'm gonna give you 5 minutes, and what I would love for you to do is just get a piece of paper or type it into a Word doc, however you wanna do it. Dear Split War Shield, and just take a few minutes to write a love letter, and I'm gonna show you an example after you do it. A love letter to the Split War Shield or to Corky. And that love letter can look any way you want. It can be a poem, it can be bullet points, it could be a paragraph, it could be a picture. Sorry, I was muted. As we come back together and we're close to finishing up, Kay, I wonder if you could grab, I somehow lost it, the email address to write directly to Split War Shield. I wanted to just give that to everybody so they could email their love letter to Split War Shield.
I will try. I don't think I have access to it, but I will.
Actually, let me see. Maybe I can grab it I think I can grab it real quick. So as you finish up your love letter, if you would like to just go ahead and participate and email your love letter directly to the artwork, as your students can be doing. I'm going to give you an email address in the chat where you can send that. That will also help us track your email so that we can send you more information on the courses.
And I'll add to that, the purpose of the email is that Jenny, I couldn't hear for a few minutes, but I don't know if you said this already, but the purpose of the email too is that the email will actually be added to the permanent record of that particular piece in our collection, Corky's piece. So that's a pretty great thing about this exhibition, is that all the different perspectives that we get on that piece will be added to our permanent collection records. So we are able to get diverse perspectives, right? Not just the authority of the museum's curatorial team, but we're getting lots of perspectives from the community that engage. So, and that'll be the case for every single piece that you see on love letters. If you write an email dedicated to that piece, which you'll have in the curriculum, then your information, your love letter, and your perspectives will be added to the permanent collection at the Missoula Art Museum.
That's right. And if you have older students, there is a module, a video, a webinar that we created with art history professor Asia Mujinga Sherrard from Dillon. And it's talking about decolonization. So decolonization is sort of the ground on which this whole exhibition is built. And if you're familiar with that term, it's museums are colonial institutions. They were created to showcase artifacts that were often stolen from dominated cultures. And so there's a movement, particularly in contemporary art museums, to decolonize and to welcome a plurality of voices rather than having the hierarchical colonial structure that we come from. And so the Missoula Art Museum is very committed to this mission. And so Love Letters is really an exhibition to bring in those plurality of voices. You don't have to be the curator, the art history expert, or even know anything academic about the artwork. And so what we're getting is a lot of people from the community, students, teenagers, teachers, just folks who have a connection with that place or that artwork and wanting to express that. So that's what we're welcoming and looking for. So as we wrap up, I did pop in the email address. It's shield@missoulaartmuseum.org. That's where you can email your love letter to Corky's artwork. And before we sign off, I just wanted to highlight, we are going to be putting on another course in September and having a training on the 25th. I'm going to share my screen so you can see this information, called Witness to Wartime. It's going to be based around Japanese internment, the experience of one artist who was interned, and through his diary, a visual diary he kept there. So if you have middle school or high school students and you are interested in a course to support that learning, we're going to be doing a webinar on Tuesday, August 25th to introduce that course similarly to how we're introducing Love Letters today. So you can email to sign up there. And here again is mine and Kay's info. If you want to reach out to us, go ahead, Kay.
No, I wasn't gonna say anything.
Okay. I don't know if you can see it because I'm trying to move this away. Okay. There we go. So we have really enjoyed being with you today, and you can email both of us. All of our emails are our first name at missoulaartmuseum.org. And please feel free to reach out. We really want MAM to be your go-to resource for teaching with contemporary art. And we hope these courses will make that available to you.
Yeah, always do not hesitate emailing us any kind of questions you have, or if you want to learn about other resources that we have, we'd love to share that with you. So yeah, thanks so much for being here today, everybody.
Yeah,
bright and early.
If you want to unmute just to say goodbye, feel free to do that. It was great to meet you all and see you all this morning.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks to Blackfoot.
Of course.
And Inspired Classroom.
And Inspired Classroom, of course.
One thing a couple of us noticed is that the sign up information sheet is not editable, so we can't get our names in there.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
In that case, just email us directly with your contact information and we'll get you the information. Jenny at Missoula Art Museum or Kay at Missoula Art Museum.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you for noticing that. Great.